And now I want to talk to you about something deeply human, the fear of starting over. Because when someone is tired, emotionally exhausted, spiritually drained, mentally overwhelmed, they begin to believe something dangerous. I can't do this anymore. It's too late. I don't have the strength anymore. I'm not the same person anymore. I have no hope left. And perhaps someone listening today is standing exactly in that place where you smile out of obligation, where you reply to messages without energy, where you work on autopilot, where you even pray, but exhausted, that place where life keeps moving, but you feel as though something inside you stopped moving forward. And I want to tell you something very real, very human, very honest. There are seasons when simply surviving is already a victory. Let me repeat that because someone needs to hear it without guilt. There are seasons when simply surviving is already an act of courage. Because there are people judging themselves too harshly. I should be doing better. I should be stronger. I should be producing more. I should be moving faster. I should be different. But perhaps you are underestimating everything you have survived. Perhaps you are not giving yourself credit. Perhaps you have fought internal battles that nobody saw. Anxiety, loss, emotional pain, financial pressure, family problems, difficult silences, fear, guilt, uncertainty, exhaustion, injustice, and yet you are still here, breathing, trying. That matters more than you know, because something people do not say often enough is this: healing is exhausting too. Yes, healing is exhausting. Growing is exhausting. Changing is exhausting. Rebuilding yourself is exhausting because it requires confronting yourself. It requires letting go of habits. It requires acknowledging wounds. It requires asking difficult questions. It requires accepting uncomfortable truths. It requires grieving things you thought you had already overcome. It requires saying goodbye to older versions of yourself. And that hurts a lot because there is a silent grief in growth. The grief of the person you used to be. The version of you that lived to please others. The version that tolerated too much. The version that begged for love. The version that confused sacrifice with worth. The version that stayed silent to avoid losing people. The version that abandoned itself to keep peace with others. And there comes a moment when you look into the emotional mirror and ask, who am I now? Because pain changes people, but it also reveals them. It awakens them. It confronts them. It redefines them. And perhaps this next part will make you a little uncomfortable. But I want to say it with love. Not everyone can go with you into your next version. Yes, there are people who loved the version of you that sacrificed itself. The version that always said yes. The people-pleasing version. The exhausted version. The always available version. The version that never set boundaries. The version that fixed everything. But when you begin to heal, something changes. You begin to respect yourself. You begin to rest. You begin to say, no, not anymore. That hurts me. I need space. I need peace. I need time. I need to take care of myself. And interestingly, not everyone celebrates your healing, because your healing makes uncomfortable those who benefited from your exhaustion. Let me repeat that. Your healing makes uncomfortable those who were comfortable with your burnout. And perhaps that is why you have felt guilty for changing, guilty for setting boundaries, guilty for saying no, guilty for protecting your peace. But listen carefully. Protecting your peace is not selfish. Let me repeat it. Protecting your mental health is not selfish. Setting boundaries is not selfish. Resting is not selfish. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Because many people grew up believing something very dangerous. I am valuable if I sacrifice myself. I am valuable if I serve. I am valuable if I solve everyone's problems. I am valuable if people need me. I am valuable if people approve of me. But no, your value does not depend on how much you wear yourself out. Your value does not depend on how many people you save. Your value does not depend on how much you suffer. Your value does not depend on how much you produce. And perhaps today I want to ask you something deeply personal. How long has it been since you chose yourself? Not from ego, not from pride, not from selfishness, but from dignity, from healthy self-love, from emotional responsibility, from respect. When was the last time you listened to your body, your soul, your heart, your emotions, your boundaries, your exhaustion? Because the body speaks, the mind speaks, the soul speaks. We simply ignore the language until anxiety arrives, insomnia, extreme fatigue, sadness, irritability, collapse. And then we finally understand something inside needed attention a long time ago. And I want to touch on something deeply spiritual because perhaps someone is asking, why do I feel so tired even though I have faith? Good question. A very good question. Because sometimes we think faith means never getting tired, that spirituality means never breaking, that loving God means never feeling anxiety, never feeling sadness, never feeling exhausted. But that is not real. It is not human. It is not true. Faith does not eliminate humanity. Faith walks alongside humanity. Listen carefully. Having faith does not mean never crying. Having faith does not mean never getting tired. Having faith does not mean never feeling confused. Having faith does not mean never feeling pain. Sometimes faith means something much more humble, more silent, more real. Sometimes faith simply means continuing to breathe, continuing to walk, continuing to try, continuing to believe a little longer, even when you are tired, even when you do not understand, even when you are broken, even when you are afraid, because there are days when faith does not shout. It simply whispers, one more day. Just keep going. Don't give up. Breathe. Rest. You are moving slowly, but you are moving. And perhaps someone needed to hear this today. God is not disappointed by your exhaustion. Let me repeat it. God is not disappointed by your weariness. He is not upset because you cry. He is not frustrated because you doubt. He is not distant because you are tired. He does not love you less because today you have no strength left. Because if we are honest, we all have seasons when prayer is not elegant, seasons when we have no words, when all we can say is, God, help me. I can't do this anymore. I am tired. I need peace. And that is prayer too. That is faith too. That is real spirituality too. Because perhaps the greatest miracle is not appearing strong. Perhaps the miracle is learning to be real, learning to live without masks, learning to heal without pretending, learning to smile from a place of peace and not from exhaustion disguised as strength. And if you are listening to this today, I want to tell you something from the heart. There is still hope for you, even if you are tired, even if you cry, even if you feel confused, even if the process is slow, even if life has beaten you down. There is still life, there is still purpose, there is still restoration. You can still rebuild yourself, not perfectly, not quickly, not magically, but genuinely, step by step, breath by breath, day by day, and perhaps that is enough for today.